Welcome back to the video, everybody. Today I'm testing out the TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra. I've got a lot of information to share with you. I have tested it in the real world. I have been taking it to the gym. I've been taking it on bike rides. I've been running with it, even when it's 15 degrees outside like it is today. So it's a little chilly. Stay tuned, because there might be some information about how you can win your own TicWatch at the end of this video. And did I mention I'm also testing out my new shoes, my new Dynafits? I'll have more information on these in a future video. So let me stop for a second and tell you about a couple of things that I really like about this watch. We'll start with build quality. This smartwatch has a really great build to it. It's got a metal frame and metal bezel. The glass is like a Gorilla Glass. I've been wearing it in the shower. I've been wearing it to swim. Like, no matter where I have it, I haven't had any problems with it. It is just as durable. In fact, even more durable than my Garmin Forerunner 945. That one has a plastic screen and it's got all scratched up. I've been pretty brutal with this. No scratches on it. I am really impressed with the build quality. The one thing I wish were a little bit better was the band, but that's pretty typical for most of these smartwatches. And this band comes off in a snap. You can put a new one in, no big deal. So build quality on this, fantastic. One deceptive thing about the build quality, these buttons on the side look like they should be able to spin and scroll, but they do not. So they just push, that's all there is to it. So it's a little bit misleading, but all in all, those buttons work nicely. Another interesting thing about the form factor is this uses a dual screen. It's a low battery life kind of screen, but I can see it really nicely even in the daylight. I have no problems. And then when I touch the screen or activate it, it changes to a different kind of screen, a more colorful screen that I can't see quite as well in the daylight. It has more of a backlight and a traditional like computer type screen. So it seems like there are two screens on this watch, and I actually really like it. As far as battery life goes, I'm getting about 2 days on a charge. I'll charge it overnight, put it on in the morning, go to the gym, wear it that whole day, wear it to sleep that night. It does track my sleep, and then I'll wear it the entire next day, and I don't have to charge it until I go to bed. An interesting feature to this watch, though, is that it has an essential mode and airplane mode. I've put this watch on airplane mode a couple times to save myself a little bit more battery and get a little bit further of a charge. And then I could do essential mode, which basically reboots the watch into a lighter mode that doesn't have any of the smart notifications or anything like that going on. And they say they can get up to 30 days on a battery with that particular mode. That's great if you don't really want to use your watch as a smartwatch, right? If you just want to use it as a watch, it's perfect. As soon as you want to use it for a workout, for GPS or anything like that, you do have to reboot it. It reboots probably in about 20 seconds, so it's not a big deal. So there's some trade-offs for you, just to think about how much battery you're going to want and need to get through a day or an activity. Average watch drain for an hour-long run for me is only a couple percentage points, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 points at the most. I don't know exactly what drains the battery mostly through the day. I'm guessing it's mostly the screen and not really a lot extra battery life drain for GPS type activity, whether you're out on a paddleboard or you're mountain biking. It seems like the watch will last you for an entire workout up to several hours. That being said, the longest workout I've used this with so far is about a 2-hour workout. As I go into my run, I can swipe through some of these screens, and there is a map. Although I like that map feature, the real funny part about it is, what is it good for? Because it doesn't actually show me anything around me, it just shows me the trail I've made. So what I could use it for, in theory, is to track my way back to where I was, but I can't really use it to find features around me. All of the data screens are pretty small. So as I'm running and I'm doing things, I can't really pick my watch up and look and see easily what my pace is or what my time is. It's just a little smaller than I wanted it to be. And maybe that's just me complaining because I have old eyes. As the watch goes to a power save mode, this is the lighter power saving screen. The time becomes the biggest piece of information that I can see, and the pace is on there, but it's so small I really can't see it. So I usually have to click into the watch to see the other data screens. There's just a lot of clicking and messing and fiddling with my watch when I want to just be running and seeing the information pretty easily. So you see at the top I get the time of day, I get the time of my run, and then I get pace down below that. For me, the data screens are too small and I can't customize those. One of the things I love about Garmin is that I can customize every last piece of data and how big it shows up so that I can see what I want to see as easily as I need to. When I first get to my run and I just want to start the GPS up, I know there's been some other smartwatches and GPS watches out there that sometimes take forever and a day to find a GPS satellite. I've been using this watch for 2 weeks, and the longest I've had to wait is about 10 to 15 seconds. So I gotta say, they score really high on the functionality of the GPS for me. That being said, the heart rate sensor I have found to be highly inaccurate, but that's to be expected with a lot of wrist-based heart rate monitors. For example, when I started this run, it told me my heart rate was 99, and I had just gotten out of the car. My heart rate's never 99 in the car unless I'm driving way too fast, which I was not today. This watch is really good. It tracks so many different exercises and activities that I really love the ability to track just about anything. My question that I have with this watch is, why are they there? I like to take all of my activities and push them into Strava. And usually with the Garmin, depending on what exercise I pick, it actually sets the activity as that setting. That does not happen with this watch. Whenever I put it on a trail run or a mountain bike ride, it just comes across as an activity and doesn't usually say specifically what type of activity I did. So I don't understand the functionality. Not to mention, as you scroll through the watch, there are so many different kinds of activities. Like, they even have very specific lifts and exercises in the gym. And I don't go to the gym and track one exercise at a time. I just call it weight training, or I just call it CrossFit or HIIT training. I do not want to have to start up my watch and shut it down for every activity. It doesn't make any sense at all. I just need it to track what I'm doing in the gym. I might like it if it actually tracked my exercises and my movements a little bit and then showed me maybe what muscle groups I've been working. It doesn't even do that. As far as the number of activities it tracks, A+. But the data you get from those activities doesn't make sense. You probably just want to call it an activity. When I get done tracking all of my activities, and then it goes and it syncs everything to my phone. When I get done with this run, I can see my paces, my stride length, a lot of information that's really helpful, and compare all that to my heart rate. So it does do everything that most running and smartwatches would do. So I gotta say, it meets the need for most basic runners, hikers that want some kind of device that will track their activity, track their GPS, let them compare workouts from one day or week to the next. Since this is a smartwatch with full-on Google, I'm a little surprised that there aren't more native navigation apps built into this watch. When I'm out on a hike, I want to just be able to figure out where I'm at and what's around me. Garmin does a really fantastic job of this. Garmin users don't have to load any of that. It automatically shows you topographical maps of what's around you, sites that are close to you. This watch, I had to download Google Maps, and that's not what I want, and it takes forever to load. I just need to know the trails, the features, the peaks, the creeks that are around me so that I can navigate, especially if I'm in the backcountry and I don't have an LTE signal or a Wi-Fi signal or anything. There's a lot of power in the security of knowing that I've got that information right on my watch, no matter what my connectivity issues are. I was an Android user for quite a while. I loved Android. One of my biggest pet peeves with Android was that when Google would release an update to Android OS, it would be several weeks, months, sometimes years, and sometimes never that your manufacturer would push that update to your device. The same thing has happened already with this watch. I've only owned it for 2 weeks. Google released Wear OS 3 several months ago, and this watch still doesn't have it. When I contacted the manufacturers and asked them, hey, this is one of the best Android watches on the market, where is Wear OS 3? They said it's coming, no date. You can't argue with the fact that when Apple release or when Garmin release an update, it gets just pushed to your device and you have it the very next day. Android is still not as software sound and robust of an ecosystem as I was hoping it would be. That being said, it's just a watch. It does the basics really well. It is a watch after all. It doesn't need to be a phone or all those things. When you're using an Apple phone with this watch, you essentially get a watch that turns into a second screen. In other words, I'm made aware when there's things happening on my phone. I know when there's a phone call, I know when there's a text message. I can read my text messages. I can also do all those things on my Garmin. I can't respond to those text messages. I can't interact in any way with my phone through this watch. And that's probably because it's Android versus Apple. If I had an Android phone, I think that would all be resolved and this wouldn't be a big deal. There's one thing I can do on this watch that I can't do on my Garmin, which is I can search Google and use the Google Assistant right from the watch. That's pretty nice. Another complaint I have about using this watch with an iPhone is that it requires 3 apps to get it done. Not only do I have to have the Mobvoi app, I also have to have the Wear OS app, and I probably have to have Google Fit. Between all of those and Strava and Apple Fit, I've got like 5 apps just to track the data coming off one watch. It's a little overkill, a little unnecessary. I understand the circumstances that they're in because they're not an iPhone native app or device, but it's still too much. Well, that's going to be about it for me on this video. I hope you guys found that informational and helpful. I'm not sure if you're in the market for a smartwatch for Christmas. This TicWatch is not a bad option. It really could fit the bill for the right user. I don't think I'm that right user. I think I'm probably a little bit too heavy into exercise, fitness, and data, and off the grid, backcountry kind of activities. So I'm a little overkill, a little too geeky on some of these things. But for the right person, this could be a great watch, especially if you are an Android user. Dave, the editor here. You guys thought this video was almost over, but Christine, the Frugal Fit Mom, reminded me that I missed a very important part of the video. We didn't talk price. The TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra is listed at $299. So the question is that the right price for you? I'm gonna say for me, it's not. It is a little too expensive for what I get out of it, especially being an iPhone user. For me, I would actually rather have a Garmin that's about the same price point. But if I was an Android user, I might think differently. It is a high-end watch with a lot of really good features. I just think the software is a little underdeveloped when you compare it to a real athlete's style watch like you would get out of a Garmin. So there you have it. Those are some of my last final thoughts on the TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra. So if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Check the information down in the doobly-doo below for more information on the giveaway from Mobvoi if you are interested in winning one of these watches for free. That is how you be frugal and fit. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great one.